Today in Black History, we're going to be talking about J.F. Pickering. And today, February 20th, in the year 1900, J.F. Pickering patented his airship, his blimp, his version of the blimp. In fact, let me go back real quick. Now, while this man did not actually invent the blimp, he innovated an idea that was already in existence. As you can see down here, John F. Pickering invented the first airship blimp powered by an electric motor and directional controls. So while he was not the mind behind the actual invention itself, he did help in the evolution of that invention. And this is just a little bit of his history. Now, he was either, a super genius because it says he was born in 1892, and yet he patented this in the year 1900. There has to be some discrepancy here with this man's life. There has to be some discrepancy. Now, I'm not saying that he could not have been, that brilliant of a man to have done this at such a young age, But either I don't understand math as well as I thought I did, or there's something really off with these numbers. But this is all the information that exists on this man. I mean, you guys can do a Google search for J.F. Pickering and, tell me what you come up with, but I'm not coming up with anything that is actually useful. Like, this is not useful at all here. So I'll just go on to this particular information from, what's that? Jonaise, Haiti. Probably not saying that right at all. Let's see, patent number. See right there to the left, above the actual URL there, and the date, and what the patent was for. Here's some of the blueprints or drawings of his innovative airship idea. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. I mean, there's not really a lot on this man or his life other than a little bit that you've seen. There are no pictures of him, so that's pretty much it. This is just, some details explaining his actual invention or innovation and how and I guess the practical application of his particular invention or innovation. So I'm gonna go ahead and move on because there's really not a lot on this man. But even though there is not a lot, he is someone who should be remembered in history. He is someone who is an ancestor of ours who we should try and pay some kind of homage and respect to, because he obviously was a very smart person and little was known about this man. So as long as we keep him, in our memory and try to do as much as we can to pay tribute to him, he'll never be forgotten. But just to leave you guys with this last scene, or last shot of some of the particulars on his life. But I'm gonna go ahead and end this portion of this video because it's very short because there's not really a lot about the man. I'm just gonna move on to the next individual who is celebrated today also. So I'll check you guys in a little bit. What up, YouTube? It's Knowledge of Self-Determination. Back with you guys with the next installment for Black History Every Day on February the 20th. And what we'll be talking about in this portion of this video is Sidney Portier. So this day, February 20th, in 1927, Sidney Portier is the first African American man, or first African American period, to win an Academy Award in a starring role. He's born in Miami, Florida. Let's see. So I'll go ahead and read a little bit about Sidney Poitier's life. Sir Sidney Portier, born February 20th, 1927, is a Bahamian American actor, film director, author, and diplomat. In 1964, Portier became the first Bahamian and first African American to win an Academy Award for Best Actor for his role in Lilies of the Field. The significance of these achievements were bolstered in 1967 when he starred in 3 successful films, all of which dealt with issues involving race and race relations. To Serve with Love, In the Heat of the Night, and Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, making him the top box office star of that year. In 1999, the American Film Institute named Portier among the greatest male stars of classic Hollywood cinema, ranking 22nd on the list of 25. Now, a little bit I do know about In the Heat of the Night. It was a movie, as you guys just heard me read, and it was later adapted to an actual TV series with oh man, can't remember the guy's name. The actor that played Archie Bunker actually starred in the TV series, and it wasn't Sidney Portier who played in the TV series. He just starred in the actual movie. So I'll continue. Portier has directed a number of films, including A Piece of the Action, Uptown Saturday Night, Let's Do It Again with Bill Cosby, Stir Crazy, starring Richard Pryor and Gene Wilder, and Ghosted, also with Cosby. Now, Let's Do It Again, that actually was a pretty good movie. I actually like that movie. It's old school thing from the 70s. So I like that movie. I've seen it. I liked it. Anyway, in 2002, 38 years after receiving the Best Actor award, Portier was chosen by the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences to receive an Academy Honorary Award in recognition of his remarkable accomplishments as an artist and as a human being. From 1997 to 2007, he served as the non-resident Bahamian ambassador to Japan. On August 12, 2009, Portier was awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom, the United States' highest civilian honor, by President Barack Obama. In 2016, he was awarded the BAFTA Fellowship for Outstanding Lifetime Achievement in Film. Sidney Poitier's parents were Evelyn Bolton and Reginald James Portier, Bahamian farmers who owned a farm on Cat Island and traveled to Miami to sell tomatoes and other produce. Reginald worked as a cab driver in Nassau, Bahamas. Portier was born in Miami while his parents were visiting. His birth was 2 months premature and he was not expected to survive, but his parents remained in Miami for 3 months to nurse him to health. Portier grew up in the Bahamas, then a British Crown colony. Because of his birth in the United States, he automatically received American citizenship. Portier's uncle has claimed that the Portier ancestors on his father's side had migrated from Haiti and were probably part of the runaway slaves who had established maroon communities throughout the Bahamas, including Cat Island. He mentions that the surname Portier is a French name, and there were no white Portiers from the Bahamas. Portier lived with his family on Cat Island until he was 10, when they moved to Nassau. Pardon me. He was raised a Roman Catholic, but later became an agnostic with views closer to deism. At the age of 15, he was sent to Miami to live with his brother. At the age of 16, he moved to New York and held a string of jobs as a dishwasher. A waiter sat with him every night for several weeks, helping him learn to read the newspaper. He lied about his age and enlisted in the Army during World War II in 1943. He only served briefly as a mental hospital attendant and feigned insanity to get discharged, after which he worked as a dishwasher until a successful audition landed him a spot with the American Negro Theater. Poitier joined the North American Negro Theater, but was rejected by audiences. Contrary to what was expected of African American actors at the time, Poitier's tone deafness made him unable to sing. Determined to redefine, or rather refine, his acting skills and rid himself of his noticeable Bohemian accent, he spent the next 6 months dedicating himself to achieving theatrical success. On his second attempt at the theater, he was noticed and given a leading role in the Broadway production Lysistrata, for which, though it ran a failing 4 days, he received an invitation to understudy for Anne Lucasta. By the end of 1949, he had to choose between leading roles on stage and an offer to work for Darrell F. Zanuck in the film No Way Out in 1950. His performance in No Way Out as a doctor treating a Caucasian bigot, played by Richard Widmark, was noticed and led to more roles, each considerably more interesting and more important than those most African American actors of the time were offered. Poitier's breakout role was a member of an incorrigible high school class in Blackboard Jungle, 1955. Poitier was the first male actor of African descent to be nominated for a competitive Academy Award for The Defiant Ones in 1958. He was also the first actor of American descent to win the Academy Award for Best Actor for Lilies of the Field in 1963. James Baskett was the first African American male to receive an Oscar, an honorary Academy Award, for his performance as Uncle Remus in the Walt Disney production of Song of the South in 1948, while Hattie McDaniel predated them both, winning as Best Supporting Actress for her role in 1939's Gone with the Wind, making him the first person of African descent to be nominated for and receive an Oscar. His satisfaction at this honor was undermined by his concerns that this award was more of the industry congratulating itself for having him as a token and would inhibit him from asking for more substantive considerations afterwards. Poitier worked relatively little over the following year. He remained the only major actor of African descent, and the roles offered were predominantly typecast as a soft-spoken appeaser. Okay, let's see. I'll read a little bit more. He acted in the first production of A Raisin in the Sun on Broadway in 1959 and later starred in the film version released in 1961. He also gave memorable performances in The Bedford Incident, 1965, and A Patch of Blue, 1965, co-starring Elizabeth Hartman and Shelley Winters. It was in 1967 he was the most successful draw at the box office, the commercial peak of his career, with 3 popular films: Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, To Serve With Love, and In the Heat of the Night. The last film featured his most successful character, Virgil Tibbs, a Philadelphia, Pennsylvania detective whose subsequent career was the subject of 2 sequels, They Call Me Mr. Tibbs, 1970, and The Organization, 1971. Didn't know that. Let's see. Just a little bit more on Mr. Poitier before I end this. Directing. This is some of the films he directed. Poitier directed several films, the most successful being the Richard Pryor, Gene Wilder comedy Stir Crazy, which I actually liked. Saw that when I was a kid a long time ago, which for many years was the highest grossing film directed by a person of African descent. His feature film directorial debut was the Western Buck and the Preacher, in which Poitier also starred alongside Harry Belafonte. Portier replaced original director Joseph Sargent. The trio of Portier, Cosby, and Belafonte reunited, with Portier again directing in Uptown Saturday Night. He directed Cosby in Let's Do It Again, A Piece of the Action, and Ghost Dad. Portier directed the first popular dance battle movie, Fast Forward, in 1985, and I did not know that either. Portier recorded an album with composer Fred Katz called Portier Meets Plato, in which Portier recites passages from Plato's writings. From 1995 to 2003, he served as a member of the board of directors of the Walt Disney Company. Didn't know that either. Diplomatic service. In April 1997, Portier was appointed ambassador of the Bahamas to Japan, a position held until 2007. From 2002 to 2007, he was concurrently the ambassador of the Bahamas to UNESCO, or UNESCO. And just real quick on that, the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization. Is a specialized agency of the United Nations based in Paris. Its declared purpose is to contribute to peace and security by promoting international collaboration through education, science, and cultural reforms in order to increase universal respect for justice, the rule of law, and human rights, along with fundamental freedom proclaimed in the United Nations Charter. So, just wanted to enlighten you guys on that. Let's see. This man has won a number of awards, and his filmography is long, spans decades. So I'll leave a link to some of the information on Sidney Portier in the description box, so you guys can do a little bit more research on him if you choose to see some of the awards that he's won. He's had a very long career, the man has. And I'm sure a lot of you guys already know who he is anyway, because Sidney Portier, the man is, a legend, pioneer for African Americans in Hollywood. So I'll leave the link to a number of the different sites that actually pay tribute to Sidney Portier and his accomplishments. And again, he was actually born on this day in 1927. And just to reiterate, the first African American to win an Academy Award in a starring role. So we're gonna go ahead and end this video. It's been another day in Black history, and we covered today Sidney Portier and J.F. Pickering. So this has been Knowledge of Self-Determination. Like, learn, and subscribe, and I'm out. Peace.